Looks like we're looking right at it, and there it is. This will give you a good sense of scale. What a freaking sight. Wow. Oh yeah, this is looking good. There's a room down there. I think there's a train coming. Thought I was going down head first. Like I said, putting myself at risk, but I think it's worth it. Oh my God, look at that. This is a gold mine of a location. Holy cow. Look at all the stuff back here. And what do we have in door number 3? I received an inside tip from 2 viewers about this location, and through my research, I think I discovered some lost mining ruins from an old abandoned mining site. And I have a feeling, a good feeling, that it's going to reveal some of its secrets today. If you want to find out what we're going to find, more importantly what used to exist, all you need to do is come along with me. Well, the false spring that we had is over. It's back to winter. It's a cold, blustery day here in Pennsylvania. We're approaching middle of January 2026. It's low 30s. Winds are averaging 10 to 15 miles an hour, but that's not going to stop us from locating and exploring some old mining history. Now, this is my very first time at this location, and although this location was shared with me by 2 viewers, that's basically all that was done. All they did was share the location. They said it's an old mining site. That's all they knew. So everything that I am going to share with you, well, I learned through my own research. So before we actually start exploring what's left today, let's go back and learn about what used to exist so long ago. Now, before we explore on land, we need to first find out what used to exist here. This is a 2025 Google Earth satellite image. And from here, we can make out a couple things. We could tell there's something going on right here, a square or rectangle shaped structure, something small right there, and an active rail line going through the area. The one thing you can maybe make out is right here, the tree line looks slightly different. There's reason for that. Let's jump back to 1992. Actually, 1993 to be exact. So here's the same area, looks much different. So we already know there's 2 square structures or a large rectangle. And that tree line I mentioned, well, that was a rail line because a train line came right through here over a bridge across the river. Beyond that, though, we could see there's a structure along the water's edge and several little foundations or buildings or footers right in this area all grouped together. Here we are, 2005, and we could tell the train bridge has been removed. So the rail line is no longer there, but there may be remnants of it, including a possible bridge abutment from where that bridge or that line crossed over the active day line right here. We have a better image of that building, and since it's the location of the water's edge, we can only presume for it to be a pump house, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But a lot more of the foundations are exposed here, and we could tell it's 2 square-shaped structures or foundations forming one larger rectangle that's divided in the middle. So that's what it looks like roughly 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And here we are again, 2025. Nature reclaimed it, but if we're going this time of year, well, everything that's still there should be perfectly visible. Here we are on the railguide site, and zoomed in pretty close right now to this building. And here's the tree line area, which we know a line came through there according to the 1993 image. But if we go to current classic, we can see what the line was. D, L, and W, Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western, went right through the site, crossed over modern day Norfolk Southern. So this line did service this colliery site. And back in the day, this used to be Schuylkill and Juniata, and also PRR, Pennsylvania Railroad. But this line here, the yellow one, was always Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western. That came to the site, and we know that there's going to be a few different lines that we're going to see on some upcoming images that service this particular location. Now, over here on the Mind Maps website, this is going to be our most resourceful tool of identifying what used to exist. So the first image I want to show you is right here. This is just a large zoomed out view of the colliery site known as the Nottingham Colliery. Now this next map doesn't tell us a whole lot, but it does tell us something. Right here is labeled number 3 shaft. You can see 4 slots there. And modern day, something still exists of that old shaft. Now this next image is going to be our most helpful one yet. As we bring it in, there's a lot going on here. It may look like a jumbled mess of words and numbers and lines, and well, it is. But if you look through and past all that, you can make out a few key things. So starting off over here, we see the word reservoir, a rectangle-shaped structure. So that identifies what I call the 2 squares or rectangle-shaped structure as a reservoir. That's incredibly helpful. The number 3 shaft, which we talked about earlier, well, that's all the way down here, right at the bottom. But if we come up here, it's labeled Nanticoke Power Plant. And it's a larger structure, a few different variations of angles coming out, but it does say clearly power plant. And another thing to point out too, is we can see this is the line here that crossed over the river where the bridge is no longer there. There's also a small line that came right in front of this reservoir, and we can see a few dead end lines servicing right here to the power plant, most likely to feed it coal during its operation days. So the L&W came through, but it had a bunch of different spurs and sidings for different reasons, whether for holding or for feeding coal to the power plant itself. Now, as far as a building goes near the water's edge, that is on here, but it's not labeled. We can only presume that to be a pump house based on its location to bring water from the river and pump it to the power plant and also probably the reservoir as well. This next image focuses specifically on the power plant. We could see big bold letters, power plant. This also confirms lines coming to the power plant, line coming right by the reservoir, and a few of the things aren't labeled here, like the reservoir is not, pump house still isn't, but this is mostly focusing on the power plant. So you can see the shape of it. It's got 2 long pieces coming out and 1 long piece in the back. And as we back out the image, we could see that's basically the placement of the footers or foundations that most likely are still there today. And in case you're curious what it looks like beneath the surface, here it is. You can see it's a pretty worked out area. Right here is labeled East Gangway. Our number 3 shaft is right there. And there's all different cross cuts and chambers and tunnels and drifts. It's heavily worked. It's basically a honeycomb beneath the surface. So that's above, that's below. Now that we know what used to exist, let's jump back in time to take a better look at it. So here is 1939, and right here is the site that we were just looking at in the mind map. So the reservoir is right here, the proposed pump house along the water's edge, and the big power plant right here. And although you can't make it out too well, there are a few more details we're going to notice on some other images, but right now we could see a few things going on. Our number 3 shaft is right in this area, and you can make out the rail line coming right next to the reservoir and right across the Susquehanna River. 1950 offers us a better view. So there's the bridge, reservoir. We could see a line did come down right next to and in front of the reservoir. Looks like it stops right there, probably just a holding line or just to clear a switch. You can see numerous stacks for the power plant. Also could see numerous lines servicing the power plant, as we already know, to feed a coal. Over here where the shaft area is, we could see a shadow, which tells me right here most likely is a head frame. That's a steel structure positioned above the head frame, usually powered by a hoist with the cable pulleys and wheels to lift and lower, whether it be coal cars and or man in and out of the mine. But it's a vertical shaft right from the surface straight down into the ground, and it's located right here. One of these 2 buildings, probably the one right here, is the hoist house, which would be connected to the head frame over the shaft. 1959, one more view. Pump house along the river, stacks casting shadows, reservoir looks like it's full of water, rail line there, that stoppage right there, the lines feeding the power plant, looks like a conveyor system right here for building up the coal piles, and again, our head frame area, shaft area, looks a little bit different. Looks like something may be enclosed or covered up here. Buildings are still there, but Although the shadows here, it just looks different on this image. It may be the same, could just be the angle, or could be slightly different than what we saw from 1950, but we know at least this is the number 3 shaft area. And what we saw in the mine maps, this building is the identical layout. So we have 2 long areas, 1 long area in back. That's why there's so many footers or foundations left behind today, proposally, that we're going to find from this large structure right here. Now we know this as the Nottingham Colliery, but here's a few more details. The Nottingham Colliery was a historical anthracite coal mine operation located near the border of Plymouth and Hanover, Pennsylvania, with its operations ending around the 1960s. The operation started in the 1800s, though, when anthracite coal beds below the surface at various depths were discovered when certain beds of coal were visible in the form of outcrops, and one such location was a gorge created by Coal Creek located about a mile upstream from the Susquehanna River. Coal could be seen and accessed on both the east and west side of the creek, and this attracted various owners of coal companies, and over time, multiple people and businesses operated at this site, including the Lehigh and Wilkes-Barre Coal Company and the Glen Alden Coal Company. After the demand for coal subsided, it was deemed that this breaker was no longer needed as it outlived its usefulness, and sometime in the 1960s it was demolished. And I actually found an article confirming that right here. If you do want to read the rest of it, feel free to pause it. Basically says Nottingham structure outlived usefulness. Officials report 50 employees involved. Old Nottingham breaker in Plymouth, owned by Glen Alden Coal Company, is being dismantled, as was announced today by Vice President and General Manager Edward Griffith. Jumping back to Google Earth, here's our plan of attack. Once we're back on location, we're going to focus on a few key areas. Firstly, it's going to be right in this area here, the location of the number 3 shaft. We know it's in this general area, but for this target and all the other targets, I will be bringing GPS coordinates with me just as a fail-safe in case we have trouble finding it. After we locate and check that out, we're going to head over to the reservoir area to see what that's like today, see possibly if it's even holding water. Since we're in that area though, we're focusing on ruins of the DL&W. We know it came right through here, so we'll see in this area, not only alongside of it, but in front of it, where the spur line was, if there's any ties, plates, spikes, rails. More importantly, over here near the modern-day Norfolk Southern, to see if there's any bridge abutments still existing today. After that, we'll come over to the site of the power plant, because we know there's a lot of footers, supports, ruins, remnants, and maybe some other things that we can't see on these map images. But that's going to be a big target to focus on right there. Lastly, we're going to focus on the building along the water's edge, the proposed pump house. Hopefully we can get inside, see what's left of it today, and hopefully confirm whether or not it was a pump house. So with our plan of attack underway, let's get back on location and start our investigation. Well, that certainly puts things in a better perspective. Now we have a strong knowledge of what used to exist. We have a better understanding of what we're going to be looking at today. But first impressions, this site seems familiar. Although I've never been here, it gives off strong vibes of the Harry Taylor slope that I filmed near Scranton later in 2025. That site was famous for the long conveyor system that came all the way down the mountain to load up the awaiting train cars. But when we first arrived on site for that location, we came to a power line trail, and one of our first findings was right along that power line trail. And basically that's what I'm looking at here. Behind you guys is a power line trail with at least 2 things I'm looking at right now that were from the mining company. So if you watch that video, let me know if that rings a bell with this location here. So right off to our right, we do have the reservoir, which we confirmed. And we have something further back there, which I don't know what that is. But without getting too excited and jumping around, I do want to go in order as to how we plan this out. I do have the GPS coordinates on me, so we don't need the coordinates for things like this. But where we're heading to, our first target, the number 3 slope, I think we may need the coordinates for that because this area definitely is overgrown. Nature has reclaimed, it's also been altered. I'm walking on basically a rock pad right here where they dumped it and leveled it out. So things may not look how they used to back in the day, but the coordinates at least should bring us on site within a few feet of it. So I'm gonna walk in the general direction and then I'm gonna pull out the coordinates. It should bring us really close to the number 3 shaft, but I can tell you right now, off to our right here, there's already some things I'm seeing that I have an idea what they're from based on our research, but first things first. Let's go to target number 1. There's even more ruins right there. There's a steel beam coming out of the ground. So I do have service here. I have both my phone and my GPS device. Since my phone does have service, it's gonna be the easiest one to work with. So I punched in the coordinates and put it on walking, and it wants to take me obviously through the nearest neighborhood, a 7-minute walk. But from what I could tell, we are not that far away, which should be, looks like straight over in this direction. So if we start walking, so basically if we start walking directly towards the pin, we should come right to it, even though Google Maps wants us to go on a scenic route. Now I might be mistaken, but I have a feeling I'm walking on one of the rail lines right here. It's pretty cleared out. I don't think it was the line that came across the bridge. This might be one of the lines that serviced the power plant. Maybe we'll find that out, but we're to kind of bushwhack through the woods here to get to our number 3 shaft location. Okay, hopefully you can see that on the phone. Looks like we're looking right at it, and there it is. We have a big concrete structure. And for what we could tell in the old maps, there may have been 4 different shafts coming in. So it doesn't look like much at first, and I don't know if it will look like anything else than what we see right now. But 100% this is the location. It is a big rectangle structure. Our best clue and best chance to see anything is going to be topside. Well, I got duped. This is not the shafts. And I'm glad I double checked, because I pulled up my GPS, it's still showing them over 100 feet away. This is what I thought was back there. I'm pretty confident these are the structures that were near the shaft, what I presume to be the hoist house and or a fan house right next to each other, and the shaft would be over in that direction. And we have some evidence coinciding with that because, well, there's more or less rooms here and corridors and building foundations. There's no shafts here. So I think we're gonna be checking out what serviced that shaft, the hoist house and or fan house. So since we're here, we'll check this out, then we'll head over to the actual location of the shafts. You have to watch where you step too. There's some holes everywhere around here. Well, this is our evidence right here that we're not at the shaft. So you can clearly see there's just some different foundations and walls and structures for the buildings right here, including a manway corridor right there, like a doorway almost. So that's how I knew we weren't on site of the shafts, but this is still a great find because I didn't think anything of this was still existing. And that was my hope, is that things that we can't see on the maps still might be here today, and they are. Yeah, this looks like a good site right here. So just to kind of explain what I'm seeing, got a big concrete base right there, another one over here, steel plating on both sides of it with like a U there for something to maybe rest in there. There's brick on top, brick on the sides. We know there's a doorway going through here, and obviously it drops down. So with the shape of this right here, and those of you who know better than me could probably confirm or deny this, with that U there and the deep bowl of the shape here, this looks like where a big fan would have been located. I believe this is the fan house. This looks really similar to the Doran's fan house I documented before, and even the Archibald fan house I documented. They both look really similar, except those ones were still intact. We're now looking at the basically skeletal remains of it. But this is a narrow channel. It goes down to a base down there, and there's slots for an axle or an arm to go across. I'm about 95% confident this is the fan house location, and the fan would have been located right here. Yeah, I'm very confident now this was the fan house. There's even a cutout of the steel plating which would be the same size as the fan pretty much. And right here, like I said, is where an arm or an axle would be resting and the fan would be rotating around it like a big water wheel almost, except this one's pushing air. This will give you a good sense of scale as to how big the fan would have been in this room compared to me. So we have an open corridor there, which says free candy. Open corridor here, which we saw from behind it. It's tagged up. We're definitely not the first ones to be here. There's some garbage down here too. And although it's ruins, there's still enough here to tell what was taking place. I don't know if it would have been metal or wood. I've seen both. Metal combined with wood for the fins. But a large fan right here, and most likely powered somewhere in either top side or in one of these rooms, most likely by a steam engine back in the day, maybe converted to electric or diesel later on. But right here, just rotating, pushing, pulling air, which means there would be an open corridor, not here, but what we saw on the old maps, that enclosure would look like a white tunnel on the old maps going toward the shaft. So the air, the fan was here, the pit wasn't below it, the air traveled through an enclosure, which I believe to be correct, going to the shaft. Hopefully we'll get confirmation of that, but this is, like I say, another piece of the puzzle. But I do want to bring you down here. There's a few more things we could check out before we do move on, but so far, this is a bonus find and one that did not disappoint. So you guys were sitting up there. We'll check out this room first. Like I said, it's a manway, a doorway. Nothing in here except some conduit, so there was electricity, probably for a light. That would have led to another room though, right here. And all those holes that we talked about in dark areas, well, they're all around us and beneath us. Just most of them were too small to get into. Even looking straight ahead too into that brick wall, there is some anchor bolts right there as well. What a freaking sight. Wow. If you guys haven't seen my videos of the Dorrance fan house or Archibald fan house, I will link them down below. I encourage you to watch them after this. You probably will see many similarities to what we're looking at right now. It's not real thick steel, but it's thick enough and has enough rivets in it that it's still holding up today quite well. Well, I think I can bring you over here now. We have another corridor here, but it looks like it's plugged up. And another room behind me, this dark hole. I don't feel comfortable going in there, but we can at least peer inside. Beyond that though, everything else is just rubble and nature. So this is the most open exposed area. Although there is more to see, we don't really need to go any further in depth. Just realized this is precariously hanging above me. We don't need to go any further in depth because, well, we have a lot more to check out. Still with me? All right, low access here, so watch your head and hopefully give your tetanus shot. So, as you can probably see, you are inside a room right now and hear a small echo. So, this is basically identical to the one we just came from, except this one's plugged in. The conduit coming down for a switch or a light. And you can see bracketing on the door here, which confirms the door would have been inside. But where it would have continued through, well, it's now earth. And there's a big bolt right here too. See my hand for scale. It's a big pin or a bolt. Coming from there, we have this room right here, which again, I don't want to go into, but we can light it up. There's a hole right there, circular hole. A lot of brick in here. This is obviously collapsed down, so it's not how it would originally look. And someone was maybe getting some material here. There's an ash bucket right there. For now, we're going to say so long to the fan house and move on to our original target, target number 1, which would be the number 3 shaft. And I think I found it. It's directly, watch yourself, directly where it's supposed to be. I just got a little overly excited and thought we arrived already. I think it's it right there. There's more of our structure right there. And according to my phone here, should be possibly the structure here. I don't want to say for certain because I already was wrong once, but mistakes do happen. This looks like it's directly in line though where we just came from. So if there was that enclosure and a head frame over here, well, the buildings that we're at came right behind it. And the buildings could have been a combination of a hoist house and fan house as well. Can't rule that out. Google Maps shows me basically standing right on it. And looks like it is filled in. I'm still gonna try to get topside, but it is really thick and overgrown. So I'm not sure what we'll be able to see up there, but I am more confident now. This is number 3 shaft. Looks like this is our only way up, which is not the best one. And honestly, I don't even think it's worth going up with how thick it is. I don't see any open cavities at all. It looks like it is top filled, actually overfilled in case it settles. I do want to maybe just stand up here, but there's all thorns everywhere here, just to kind of get a higher vantage point. Get off me. I just want to confirm before we walk away to our next target. Yeah, if what I'm seeing, which I know you can't see, but just so I can describe it, it's not worth bringing you up here. There's chunks of concrete, trees, creosote timbers, just regular rocks and material. This is top filled. 100%, this is the number 3 shaft. I will just confirm once again. Yep, we are standing right on top of it, right on the pin. I may have a way to give you a brief look. Actually, let's try to do that. I'll give you a brief look with my 360, just so you know what it looks like, and then we'll move on to target number 2. All right, here's your look. Let me know if you see anything. I'm gonna give you one look over here, so make the most of it. Just have to say, although this is not my daily go-to camera, this camera has come in handy more times I could count. Already paid for itself time and time again, being able to reach areas and get shots I can't get with any other camera. Okay, so back there we know number 3 shaft is right there, and all it's still there, we can't, as far as I know, see anything or go inside of it. Fan house / hoist house is obviously the better of the two. We didn't know that was there, but it is. Now we can move on to target number 2, which is the reservoir. We know exactly where it is, so I don't need the coordinates for that, but I am passing something along the way. Fan house right there, and we have something right here. It's a bit of a tower. And I see a wall behind it as well. So we have more to see here than just our 4 targets. We'll come back to that. Let's go to target number 2, the reservoir. And here is our reservoir. Still here. Is there water inside of it? We know there's 2 chambers. I do see some cattails, or what I call nature's corn dogs. So there's a good possibility there might be some water. We also saw on that later, I think it was 1959 map, that there was a spur line right here in front of the reservoir. It dead-ended a short ways up there. But where we're walking, at one time, would have been rails. Now there's a foundation or support for something. Steel I-beam is cut. I do see a ladder over here too. It's a pretty high wall. I thought we would be able to peer right into it. Not the case. All right, elevation change here. We could peer inside right over here. Wow, this is big. Holy cow. I knew it was a good size, but I didn't realize it was this deep. And there is indeed water. Obviously not to capacity, but we can see a clear water line where it normally is. It's usually about a few feet deep. I would say, guesstimating top to bottom, which we can't see the true bottom, but only from what we could see, that's probably about 12 feet. This held a heck of a lot of water. And there's two chambers, or two holding tanks, I should say, split by that dividing wall. But we know 100% without a shadow of a doubt, this is the reservoir that was used during the colliery days. Well, I can't see over the wall here, but I'm sure you guys want to see. So I'm just going to stick you up and give you a look. Oh, it should be like a suitcase full of money down there and I can't see it. So where I'm standing, which is between the reservoir and the power plant, confirming with the Railguide app, the DL and W line came right through here. So the main path of it is overgrown, but it basically came right through here, and there was a clear-cut section. If you remember when we looked at Google Earth, there's a kind of a depression or a little bit of a clearing in the tree line. And according to Railguide, we're walking on the line basically right now. We know it's approximate, sometimes not exact, could be off by 10 or 20 feet, but we know based on what we've seen. Let's try that again. Wayne got a hold of the camera. So we know based on the old satellite images, the rail line, DL and W, came between the reservoir and the power plant, which is basically right here. So we did say when we found the reservoir, we want to check for any remnants or ruins of the rail line, such as ties, hardware, more importantly, any bridge abutments that would have crossed over the present day, what is it, Norfolk Southern. So I guess we'll head in this direction. We'll just keep our eyes out on the ground for anything rail related and see what it looks like closer to the active line. Is there anything left today? Not looking good for bridge abutments or supports. But there is the active line. Oh, what is that? That looks like something maybe undercuts right there. We have to investigate that. But basically where we're standing, somewhere in this vicinity, the line would have came right across. And I think the tree line over there is where the line would have continued. I don't see any supports in the water. I don't see any supports or walls or anything over here. This area has been altered significantly, which is a shame. I was hoping to see something. I'll do another screenshot. We're standing right where we should be. If there was going to be an abutment wall here or anything for that old bridge, it would literally be right where we're standing beneath our feet. There's nothing left over here. So it's a shame. I do want to explore down here though. There may or may not be something. It could just be natural depression or cavity of the earth, or there may be a culvert or something down here. I'm pretty curious though, because it looks like it does go in. Huh, I was duped once again. Nature played a trick on me. I thought for certain there is something here, an opening, whether it be an old mine or a culvert or something else. But I think you could see how I got that impression from up above. All it looks like is basically just a natural runoff area for water, because there is a drainage pipe, culvert pipe down there that goes beneath the train tracks. So I'm not going to bother looking at that. It's nothing more than just a concrete pipe. Although I could crawl through it, I don't have a reason to today. That's not our main focus. But Wanted to double check. I thought maybe there was a chance there's something here that we could explore inside of. There's not. Was there one time? I can't rule that out, but today, not the case. Well, just as I was climbing back up, look what I found. Railroad tie right here. So there's things here, just far and few between. Looks like maybe another one sticking out right here. But I'm surprised they completely demolished and erased the bridge abutment and supports. Now, are there things here related to the railroad that we can't see? I would say absolutely. And based on a suggestion from my friend Bob C., who is a big rail enthusiast, especially when it comes to rails and spikes of abandoned lines, he suggested I bring my pinpointer metal detector. I forgot I owned one from doing some underwater metal detecting. So I have it with me here, and he's like, if you ever come across any ties, especially ones that are still in place, and you don't see any hardware, pull out the pinpointer, scan around, and if there's a pin that you can't see, you know, whether it be under leaves or under a couple inches of dirt, that most likely will find it. Since we don't see any ties here in place, I'm not going to bother searching for a needle in a haystack. So that means target number 3 now, officially target number 3, is the power plant. That's the largest of everything here. And that's going to cover a big area, all the way from back here near the former rail line before it crossed over, to going closer back towards the fan house. So right here, I'm already looking at some of the things that we know exist based on the Google Earth images. I spotted something fascinating created by nature. Look at that tree. All those bumps, nearly halfway up. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're called burls. They're big growths though, and pretty good size. It's almost like acne on the tree. Now honestly, I could probably make a video in itself covering all the ruins and remnants of the power plant. I'm not going to focus heavily on this because, well, we'll be here all day. It's pretty widespread. There's a lot to check out, but most of it's going to be repeating itself. This is our first confirmation of the power plant, the ruins anyways. That is more or less just a little holding room. I don't know what that is. It's like something may have been mounted in there, protected by the concrete. Something was obviously posted here. There's at least 3. So something probably up above this. As to what it could have been, well, use your imagination, but there's actually holes on top too. I'm kind of dumbfounded what this could be or what it was used for. So thoughts, theories, speculation, comment section's all for you. There's more going on down here. Power plant. Oh yeah. I almost completely missed this. There's some rooms down there. This is the back area of the power plant, and it's elevation change. It threw me off because I thought we're at the back part. I noticed this wall and then noticed it dropped off, and there is a bunch of crap down here. There's some rooms we could go inside of, I believe. There's some things in the woods over there. So yeah, we have our work cut out for us. Let's get down there safely and see what we can find. Oh yeah, this is looking good. There's a room down there, and look what I spotted right over here. Sticking right out of the ground, which I mistaken for a post, is a piece of rail right there. Below that wall, there's some more concrete. There's some brickwork. So I believe right now where we are, we would have been in, almost went down. We would have been inside of a building right now. Top side's gone. Bottom side, for the most part, is still here. So I think we're in the heart of the power plant right now. Really close to the Norfolk Southern line as well. So just to put things in a better context, up on top of there is where the rail line went across. up over there is that little boxed room where I said leave your thoughts, theory, speculation. We came down, the rails over there. We noticed some rooms over there. And look at all this back here. I thought this was going to be a shorter video. It's not. It's yielding more results than we ever realized. There is a heck of a lot going on back here. There's a bunch of columns. I'm getting overwhelmed here. One thing at a time though. Let's just focus one thing at a time. Otherwise I'll be all scatterbrained and jumping around from location to location. So let's get over to those rooms, start from there, and then we'll work our way this way. So what are you guys thinking so far? Are you enjoying this? Well, if you can't tell, I am. And we found a really big room. Look behind me here. Just to think, I almost missed that too. If I had noticed that wall and looked down, I would have bypassed this whole area. Also to point out, based on a viewer suggestion in a recent video, I was talking about my jeans getting destroyed from a location. Somebody suggested getting a pair of Kevlar pants, and I did. And it's my first time wearing them out. So far, I absolutely love them. They're lightweight, they're breathable, tons of pockets, and they're water and tear resistant. So these pants are ideal for what we're experiencing today. So whoever that was that suggested these, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. There might be a train coming. I think there's a train coming. What timing. I was meant to come down here for a reason. Feel that. Well, I didn't call for this, but I'm definitely not complaining. History behind you, trains behind me. It's a win-win. That was a very pleasant surprise. That was a southbound train, which I believe runs daily from Binghamton to Enola. I don't know if that's 13Z or not, but great timing. So what do we have down here? We have some dangerous overhang above us and a lot more going on down here. I need to come down here and investigate first, make sure it's safe, and then I'll bring you along as well. So just hang tight. Well, after my brief evaluation, I concluded that there are some dangerous areas, but I feel it is worthy of going inside. But if you ever come into locations like this and you see this loose overhang, well, best advice is don't disturb it. You don't know if it's just lightly holding on and the lightest touch can dislodge it and come down on you. But this looks fairly safe. There is a lot of rebar here. So it's all, for the most part, hanging on by steel, but never hurts to play it safe. So here's our first look. It's a big room. I just noticed there's a tree growing out right there. Looks like there may have been access here. I don't want to say windows, but for lack of better terminology, it looks like windows. They're framed up. Looks like they're sealed up now, but may have been open at one time. Something was right there. I don't know what that would have been. It's made out of wood. Something could have been mounted or hanging there. You do see some bracketing with a turnbuckle right there, hanging down. Some different conduit coming through the roof or the floor. Some piping. There's a lot going on, plus back there. Yeah, what do you think that was? Looks like there was pipes on there. They're broken off. There's just two small holes, much smaller than the pipe would have been. And there is a turnbuckle right there, which may have played a part in maybe helping support pipes. And then right here, I'm holding onto some conduit. May have been a light fixture on the end of it. That's looking where it just came out of. Like people have been dumping down here some big tires that may or may not have been a manway at one time. The tree has a perfect sunroof to grow right through out to the surface. Plenty of material here for the root system. So like I said, nature always finds a way. You could tell looking at this wall here, there was tons of things mounted or going on. So right here, something there, some mounts, some more piping, pipes coming out of the top. Looks like that probably fell in from the top right there. That's where we were standing above earlier, looking down in here. And here is some definite confirmation of piping. So we've got those two right there, one right there, another one right there. But as to the use, I mean, all we could say is it had a part to play with water for the steam boilers. You know what, for just the heck of it, I think I'm gonna do some measurements in here. I'm gonna measure the length and we'll say the width that way. And we'll try to do floor to the top from the lowest area. Tell you what, it's nice in here. No wind, you're somewhat protected. You got plenty of ventilation. And no one's gonna really know you're in here unless they come from the track side. So those of you who like to do stealth camping or some overnight stays in abandoned places, this seemed like it'd be an ideal place. Okay, first things first, let's go end to end here. 41.8 feet this direction. 19.9 this way. So we could say 20 by 40. That's a safe estimate right there, rounding it off. Let's see if we could do floor to the top. We'll come down to the lowest point here. 13.6. So we have three numbers. I'll be honest with you, if we don't find anything else today, which I know we're going to, I'm already completely satisfied with what we found. This place is fantastic. So we were inside there, and on the other side of the wall, some more holes out here. But I don't think there's anything else we could get inside of. Noticing too, just a quick observation, looks like something was maybe mounted there, like steel or wood, that has a smooth impression. And there's no way possible this location could be a short video. It wouldn't do it justice. I'd be shortchanging not only myself, but you guys as well that love these locations as much as I do. So I'm trying to keep it moving, but also don't want to miss anything either. Right now we're going to go to the area I showed you before. Another large area with some plastic buckets here, which I don't know why, and a bunch of columns. Now what I could tell you is from where we just were, I believe that was the back part of the powerhouse, is that long, straight lined area of the building. And then obviously it branched off with different parts of the building. But we have, boy oh boy, this is going to be a multi-part video. There's a lot more. Looks like maybe something going on down there. But what about all this? It's like, where do you start? Guess we'll start at the bottom, work our way up. Oh, look at that down there. Look at that cut steel, how thick it is too. There's a hole down there. I think I need to physically get down there and look for myself to see if that does go anywhere. I think to play it safe, I'm going to come down this side. I'm definitely putting myself at risk for this one. So it's actually open beneath you guys. I didn't realize it. So I need to find out how to get down there. There's some snow here as well. Oh, Jesus. Thought I was going down head first. Hopefully nothing comes out, grabs my legs. Oh. Like I said, putting myself at risk, but I think it's worth it. What do we have down here? Here we go. Oh, no way. There's an underground room. Leads to a big pipe. How far back is that? I'd say about 25 feet back. There's a big, large diameter pipe plugged up. There's a concrete room down here, like a chamber. And it goes in both directions. Now, how do I get you guys while I'm down here? I think my best bet, honestly, instead of coming back up to get you, I'm going to film with my phone and overlay the footage. That way you could see what it's like down here without me having to do this twice, because as you saw, I could have fell a few times. So I'll be back in a moment, but what you're going to see next is what's down here. Okay, so that's where you saw me crawl down. Down here in this room now, which we were walking above. And here's that large diameter pipe. I wonder if this room filled up back in the day with water, or if that pipe would have continued. Here's supports for the pipe though. So maybe the pipe went all the way through. And this is just like a protective chamber down here. And there are some cave crickets down here and spiders. So keep that in mind. They don't bother me so much. Oh, look at that. That is a bunch of cave crickets all huddled together in the corner. Oh my God, look at that. It's like hundreds of them. And spiders all above us. This probably went straight out through into the area, or towards the area that we came from, that underground room. Now I'm standing straight up. This floor seems like it's built up with material, but I'd say the height is about 6 foot. I'm 5'11", I have about 1 inch of clearance, and probably 6-7 feet wide. Let's go across the other side here. So here's more supports. There's more, looks like maybe the pipe. And then it actually comes out on the other side here, which we'll peer in once we get over there. And there's openings in the top, obviously. So this is like a pipe room. It's the best way to describe it. So hopefully you appreciate the effort of me crawling down here. I was as curious as many of you would have been, and I had to find out for myself, because once I saw darkness, I'm like, you never know. It could be underground corridors and tunnels going to different buildings. Coming out of the birth canal. Whew. That was something. Again, almost completely missed it. It pays to be extra curious. So all we could tell is this whole area that we're exploring right now had to do with water management, water control, sending the water in different areas. And we know there's a reservoir on site, and we have yet to go to the proposed pump house. So all these clues are kind of linking together, but this is what's basically beneath and inside of parts of that power plant. Fascinating. Topside now, catching my breath, looking around, and this brick stood out to me. Light glaze. Athena, Athena. Looks like Somethingville, Ohio. Nelsonville, Ohio? That's what it looks like anyways. There's another room right there. Didn't even know about that one. And pretty far drop. At least 20 feet. This is a gold mine of a location. Completely didn't know about it, and thankfully for the viewers to tell me about it, I'm truly appreciative. There is so much going on here. It is overwhelming, to say the least. I just don't know what else to say. I'm kind of running out of words, and I don't need to keep saying it, but fascinating location. Now, here's like a panel box. Well, I think we could head inside. There's another small room right there. Corridor right there. This is like a giant... Oh, there's a bassinet down here. What the heck? This is like a giant playground. So we were just walking topside, and we came through underground, and I said, we'll see it from the other side. This is the other side. Television and a friggin' bassinet. Why somebody would throw this away, I don't know. It doesn't look all that old. Got like a pleather or plastic carrier. We'll keep it there out of the elements. Yep, that's where we just came from. Right in there. That's where the big pipe is at the other end. Okay, watch for loose material as we head inside here. It's like we're entering the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. It's narrowing out. Now, this is just getting weird. Wow, look at that. I found a slot machine. Nowhere to lie. Found a bassinet. Now a slot machine. A big pipe right there. And if you don't believe me, here it is. I just pulled it out. Automatic jackpot rings the bell. Takes the coin, dispenses coins. I think it's past its prime for payouts, but pretty cool finding. If this was on your bingo card of things to find in a mining facility, well, mark it off. I definitely wasn't counting for this one. We're gonna leave it right there. Maybe the squirrels and chipmunks want to play later. So there's another room that goes down even deeper, I believe. Looks like it curls out to the other side, so we'll probably see that from the other side. Makes you wonder what was in here though. This is a big room with that really big pipe right there. And it looks like a pretty thin material pipe. It's almost like tin metal instead of like steel. Riveted together, almost like a trash chute. I wonder if maybe ash went down there. You can see in reference for location too, we're on the back side of that tower that we found before once we left the shaft. Holy cow. I think we came upon someone's home site. Look at all the stuff back here. We'll get to that in a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. There's a lot of cut bars, rebar, conduit. A lot of electricity here, obviously so, because they're producing electricity and power. Oh, there's insulators right there. It's like porcelain. Looks like there's some steel sheathing coming down that's cut, coming down at an angle. Almost like this is like a hopper of sorts. Another deep channel. So we didn't go down there yet. We spotted that from over there, and I said we could probably see it from the other side. So let's check that out before we move on. Looks like a water valve right there. A pipe that, oh, I thought I lost my flashlight. It's in my pocket. Plugged up in there. Uniroyal tire. And what do we have in door number 3? Yeah, we haven't been down here yet. We'll do this one together instead of making you wait. Just watch your top here. A lot of those, what are those called? Stalactites. Oh, we're in the depths of something. Ever down here, we can see it's arched off right there, angled off, I should say. So that's where we looked from the other side, I believe. Yeah, we were standing up there. Up above that is that, what I said, kind of like a tin pipe. So that's up there above that. You can see there were some pipes or conduit coming along, bracketing hanging down. And then this is sealed up here. That was open at one time as well. And you can see the curvature of the wall. And my GPS said signal is lost. Brick right there. Really large stalactites. That concrete secretion. So a lot of what we're looking at, I don't know what we're looking at, but all we know is that we are within the power plant. So that's all we really need to know. Piping most likely carries water. Could be possibly gas in later years. A lot of conduit for electricity. But other than that, I think too much of it's gone to really understand what each room or section was for. This is not going to be graceful by any means, but that's what's necessary to get out. So, as you saw earlier, just a little while ago, there's either a homeless site here with a heck of a lot of stuff, or someone's been dumping. And although I saw some plastic containers from a distance, I didn't realize all that was there. So I'm going to proceed with caution. I don't want to stumble upon someone, startle them, and have a unnecessary confrontation. And if no one's here, well, we're going to see what's going on, because it's kind of tucked away and there's more ruins over there that we need to explore anyways. This video may be coming to an end, but the adventure and exploration is far from over. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, well, just wait until part 2 comes out, because it gets even better. Not only do we dive deeper into that finding of all those items, but in the moment, I make some discoveries of places and things I had no idea were out there, many of which involve us going beneath the surface. I promise you're not going to want to miss it. Right after this, though, I'm going to show you a preview of what's to come in part 2. Until then, though, thank you so very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Just walking through, documenting the place. If you're here, please make yourself known. Oh, you know what? We even missed something else. This place is the gift that just keeps on giving. Oh yeah, it opens up significantly down here. Now the question is, how the hell do we get down there? Wow. Wow, it goes way back. Well, you stuck with me this far. Are you coming? Oh, it keeps going. And right down bottom, as we already know, this is flooded. I feel like I'm underground here more than anything else. One wrong step could be your final one.